Alright, I'm guardedly excited for this one. And I say guardedly excited because this is not going to be easy. I love this game. I have played this game more than once, but I've only finished it once, if that makes sense. I I have some real difficulties at times with this one. So I would not be at all shocked if I end up really having a devil of a time making any forward progress. But it should be fun. We'll see how this plays out, and let's just get going. Also, I'm probably not going to voice things for this, in part because I'm going to save my throat for tomorrow, since, Dragon Quarter is going to be all voice acting all the time, and more or less. And I also. There's enough voices required for this that it would kind of turn into a nightmare and it would slow the pacing a lot. And I don't really want to kill the pacing of this since the pacing on this is pretty good if I don't do that. So let's just get into it. I'll just be sure not to fly through dialogues and such too fast. Because I read fast and I know not everybody does. Big old robots coming to kick everybody's ass. Still running. Lots of running happening in the beginning here. Of course it's protected. Did you really think something like this was going to be unshielded and unguarded? I mean, really now. She's out of soldiers. Only really one answer left, isn't there? Asti being a cyber elf can break such things. So, Zero's awake. Time for us to fix this mess. Right, we only have gun at the moment. There's how I dash. It's gonna be a couple minutes while I re-familiarize with controls. There aren't a lot of them, but it's gonna take a second. You'll notice currently we can't even charge this gun. This gun just exists. Yeah, that reached a little further than I thought it would. That's fine. Oh, that's actually really lucky. You can go a long time without seeing any of those extra lives pop out. You know, you'd think you'd know where you're going, considering you just got here this way. Also, goodbye. Of course it has. What do you know? At least the passage is cleared now. Can't damage it with a buster, she says. Yep, sure thing, lady. Clearly can't damage it with a buster at all. Ignoring the fact that you can just shoot it in its very obvious weak point, in the eyes. Oh hey, a sword. Neat. Now we're quickly going to flip the Z-Saber to be the main weapon, because I personally prefer using it over the Buster just about any day of the week. But the Buster is going to be useful sometimes. Mission completed. More than likely, if we were woken up properly, we wouldn't have as many issues, but getting a bit of a jump start was probably necessary in that situation. Yeah, this will be our means of going back and forth between areas at any given time. And we'll get into that elf thing later. Now, I'm going to want to be careful how well I do in these stages going forward. Because based on your level completion and rank, things can change. And certain bosses and such will be significantly... Well, actually, I think just about all of them are significantly harder if you've done exceptionally well. We got an S rank here, which is a bit dangerous for my own health. Yeah. X has decided everybody needs to die, at least in terms of what we know so far. You can say no there, and it but thou musts you into doing it. I'm just gonna save the time and just agree. This is Seal's room over here, but there's also an elf to grab in here. As we saw, cyber elves can do some magical stuff, so we want those. I won't be making that much use of them, admittedly. Unless I get some really useful ones. Now, it's been a while since I've played this last. At least completely last. So, don't be surprised if I run around a little bit lost trying to find things. I know there are some things we can get like right off the start that will be helpful to us. And that's why I'm poking around the resistance base, making sure I get a hold of them. Because a lot of the gameplay of this is very familiar to the previous Mega Man X games and things like that. But there is also all this stuff here in the hub of the resistance base, and a bunch of other mechanics we'll get into as we're going that make this stand out a bit more. But as you can see, the resistance is actually doing their job. They're actually paying attention to their base's protection and everything. We have the typical wall climb, wall jump. You'll notice we can only swing the saber once at a time right now. We'll get into things involving that in a little bit here. This is where the transceiver is. Yeah, there's a lot of tutorial guys hanging around in here right now, which I will not be really paying that much mind to. Some of these rooms currently don't have anything in them. I believe something will spawn in some of them later on as we go, and I'll want to check on that periodically. I just don't remember when these things spawn. You know, what plot triggers and such have to happen for those to appear. I'll not be surprised if I kind of aimlessly run around here a little bit now and then. Make sure I don't miss anything useful. Sure. Yeah, I didn't have enough crystals to give to him, but I was willing to try. Okay, go ahead and tell me more about weapons, because this is actually going to be what I was going to tell you guys about anyway. Basically, how that whole system works is the more enemies you kill with a weapon, that weapon will gain in basically experience. And as the weapon levels up, you gain new moves with it, you gain more attacks, and some of them gain actual special abilities as well. But that too we will get into as we get more equipment. As you'll notice, we actually gained the ability to charge from talking to him. But currently it doesn't do a whole hell of a lot. You'd also gain the ability to charge by just doing stuff as well. But in this case, talking to him unlocks that ability immediately. Basically, there's kind of a whole paranoia thing going on right now as far as Reploids turning to Mavericks go, because of all of the issues where Reploids have turned into Mavericks throughout all of the X games and such. And there's more issues at hand, but we'll get into those as we get to them. That disposal center is just literally an execution ground, basically. They all get killed there. So that's a whole thing. We're gonna go put a stop to that. Right now, you'll notice we can't kill these wheels in one hit. I'm aware that it's not that way. I'm pretty sure there's something down here, though, that we might want. Nope, we're blocked off from going down here right now. Okay. Sometimes there'll be hidden things down on unintended paths, as you'd expect. Need to get the saber leveled up a bit. Right now, I'm going to be taking a lot of stupid damage. till I get my reflexes back. Because right now I'm still locked on the earlier reflex I had of I'm able to kill it before it can hit me. Thus, meaning I'm gonna get hit every time by those wheels because I cannot in fact kill them yet. See that thing there? That's causing this weather effect. Right now we actually want it to be there because it's kind of helpful for getting up here. Which really doesn't matter in the long run of things. I think there is something else you can get while the weather effect's on, but I don't remember where it is. So I'm not really going to worry about it right now. I'm just going to turn that off so it stops annoying me instead. Yeah, we need it off so we can reach that. Dang it. There we go. Now you'll notice we actually have a combo attack. We can attack twice. Significantly cuts down on the attack time between your attacks. I think I might have to shoot that in order to crack that open. I'm waiting for the flyer to come back so he doesn't just shoot me in the back when I'm trying to jump. Ah, to hell with it. It's just a fairy. I'll worry about it later. I'm pretty sure we can come back here if we really, really want to. Just gonna quickly grind a little bit of power here. We can also get random elves from enemies, as you can see by the elf that spawned there. That I'm currently trying to get to reach me. There we go. And that's why I let that go up before I moved forward, because I remembered that that ball drops there. And the last thing I needed was getting a spike ball in the back of the head. There's going to be a few odds and ends that I'm going to remember even after all this time. And it's going to be very helpful, because this game does not pull its punches much. Especially if I keep ending up getting decent ranks. So now that I've taken my time doing that, I'm probably going to get the sluggish rating, and that's okay. I think if I left that one on, I might have been able to go back and get the elf that way. Because it would have given me the slight push. Not 100% sure on that one, though. There was the extra life up there that I wish I remembered how to get to, but I think it was going to take some real nonsense to get to it. I'm not going to worry about it. This is the boss room over here. This is going to be a little bit complicated. I'm going to have to actually really get a handle on his pattern again. But before we get into the boss fight, I'm going to explain in the main kind of elves we are going to have and the ones we currently have. As soon as I hit the correct buttons. As you can guess, the nurses are various healing types. There's one that revives you entirely, I think, if you die. There's multiple ones that give you health. There's one that steals health as well, I think, is in this section. It might be in one of the other sections that we'll get into in a second here. Animal, as it says there, boosts your ability. This one makes you climb better. This one does what it says on the tin. You fall in a pit, you won't be falling in that pit anymore. And the bee just shoots occasionally as he floats around near you. Hackers do weird stuff. Like, this one here stuns enemies. There's one that'll drain boss health down a bit. There's... I think one of these also gives you temporary invincibility? Question mark? It's like, it's either temporary invincibility or like supercharging or something. Like I said, it's been a little bit since I've last really used any of this information, and of course, I wasn't the hugest user of fairies even then. Let me also quickly fix these black bars because I forgot to fix those. Just 1 sec. There we go. That looks better. This way you guys have a better perspective of what's going on. Okay. Totally not stalling to avoid this boss fight for a few more minutes or anything. Because this is usually the fight where I have some trouble getting started with the game, because this fight is kinda hard as your first boss. Especially since I didn't grind up to learn the charge sword, so this is gonna be a bit of a thing. Now, this is worded a little funky. Aztec Falcon is this guy. Harpua is a completely separate entity. Yeah, this Crusher comes down, kills all those people. That's how this disposal center works. They put people down there, they crush them, they keep on doing that, and they keep on doing that, and they keep on doing that. Now he went for the charge first. I'm probably gonna die at least once while I, like I said, remember his pattern. Because I know there's a way to lock him into a really easy pattern, but I don't remember how to do it. And he's gonna have more attacks because we have the S ranking, I'm pretty sure. And we're dead. You'll notice he also hits really hard. We have 4 shots at this before we have to reset. We've already lost the S ranking, I think, because we died once. But that's okay. We do have to go through this scene every time I die, though. Ah, that floor lightning is the worst. Don't get me wrong, if I chose to use the Buster, this would be easier. Because I'd have the ability to attack him from range. We're dead again. He just has a lot of attacks. This is a very small arena, and every attack he has hits for a good, like, 4 blocks of health, I think it is. Something like that. So you have very little room for error. And of course, coming back into this rusty as all hell, there's gonna be a lot of error. In my opinion, a lot of the other fights in this game are a lot easier than this guy. Because you are better equipped to deal with them than you are this guy. But again, I'm making this harder than it needs to be by focusing on the sword. You'll notice, his arms are longer than the sword. So more often than not, I end up destroying myself trying to get a shot at him. I really should actually just use the damn Buster and be a sensible human being. Or, more accurately, I should use both, rather than focusing one over the other. I can at the very least, like, open the fight with that. But yeah, that attack is magnetic, which really sucks. Yep, I screwed it up again. I can still fix this. Unless he decides to dash back and forth again. God damn it. This is off to a really bad start, but that's kind of what I expected. Don't be surprised if you see me fail these boss fights a bunch. Because a lot of these are genuinely really hard. Ah! Wait. Damn it! That would have worked if he hadn't started just doing everything in his power to be at the worst angles. As you can see, you can just power straight through him, though. I just prefer not to do that because not only is it a crapshoot if it works, it's also kinda cheesy. But we're quickly gonna go back through the stage and go do that again. But this time, better. And I'll actually show you guys the way I usually beat him. But it's gonna involve a little bit of grinding. And for those wondering, yes, I could have used my Nurse Elf, I think, to save myself. Actually, no, because you have to equip Cyber Elves before you go on a mission, and we didn't, because we didn't have them till we went on the mission. So never mind, I couldn't have done that anyway. But yes, that's how the Nurse Elf would have worked, is it would have just healed me straight up, kind of like an energy tank. Which this game, if I remember right, doesn't have any E-tanks. The Cyber Elves take the place of that, more or less. But we're just gonna hang out here for a few minutes, and I'm gonna grind up the ability to charge my saber properly. You're just gonna have to trust me that that's gonna be a game changer. But as you saw by the amount of damage we do to him with the saber, it's absolutely doable to do it even probably at level 1 saber. I just prefer not to. I could challenge myself to that degree, but that's just not how I operate. If you can do it and you choose to do it, more power to you. That is genuinely impressive. It's just not my thing. But we can just hang out here for a little bit and jam up to the music. No matter what anybody tells you, never be afraid to do the prep you feel you need to do for a fight. Just because other people beat it easier doesn't mean you shouldn't have the option to stack the deck in your favor if you know how. Which, I of course know how the mechanic works, so I can of course stack the deck a little bit. This isn't a huge stack in my favor either, this just gives me an option for defeating him. But this is also part of how I found the pattern I could get him stuck in. If I can get him stuck in it again, I'll show you guys. I'm not gonna, like, go out of my way to make it happen because I don't remember exactly how I did it. But something in running back and forth, wall to wall, can sometimes force him to jump back and forth himself. And you can just keep basically jousting with him over and over again until he loses. Yeah, now we have that charge slash, which is really good. Personally, I'm all about the charge slash. As you can see, it destroys those pillars in one go and things like that. It does slightly more damage than a regular attack, I think. But the bigger advantage to it is the fact that it's got a little more reach than your normal slash does. It's also got another effect to it, but we'll get into that in a little bit here. Because that's going to be explaining a mechanic we don't have yet. Now, time for round 5, 6, something in there. One sec. Not already. Okay. Didn't want that distracting me while I try to do this fight. Yes, yes, you're Aztec Falcon. Caw, caw, you are a bird. Good for you. Why don't you sprout your wings and fly away, bird boy? Now you'll notice that the charge swing actually has a slight stun for him. And now this fight's over. That's why I wanted my charge swing. It makes this fight a lot easier. It's a simple matter of, on top of its staggering amount of certain animations, it does that just a little bit more damage, and it takes less time to happen, because I can charge as I'm retreating, and then hit him once, and then I get away, rather than having to try to go for multiple slashes. Funny story. She says you must get this before you return to base. You can forget it. I have forgotten it before. And it was awful. Because you can dash and end up slightly just under it and glitch through it on very rare occasions before coming in here, where the transceiver is. It was uncomfortable and awkward to not have this the entire time. But we now have elemental attacks. Specifically, our charge will apply electricity to enemies now. I believe the same goes for the Buster, but I don't know if you need third charge for that or not. Now, downloading the elves is basically selecting your loadout of elves. Some of them aren't ready yet. You need to spend energy crystals to get them ready to be used. I'm not really sure what the reasoning behind that is. But we're only going to take the nurse elf for the time being. And we might not even use it. But as you can see, since it took us a bit of time and we took some damage, we didn't get S rank. And that's fine. I think the magnet attack is what Aztec Falcon gained from me having S rank in the previous mission. But also, don't quote me on that specifically, because I do not remember. But yeah, it's mostly the clear time that killed us for getting S rank on that one. Because they expect you to be fast, efficient, and not exactly untouchable to get the highest ranks, but minimum touch. Yeah, the escape unit will be useful because that allows us to bail out of a mission. Because there will actually be certain missions we're not going to want to do in certain orders, because I believe you have access to multiple missions straight off the top, and some of them are a lot nastier than others. And I believe there is a correct order to doing the missions in terms of making it the easiest you can have it be. Yeah, I think later on he'll be able to provide us with another weapon or two. He comes into play more in the later games than he does in this one, from what I remember. We didn't get enough crystal to do anything with him yet. Crystal, of course, being those little blue pickups you've seen me scooping up. The yellow ones being health. Sure thing, old man. Nah, carry on, old man. Keep it going. Yes. Yeah, since she was human, she was aging. He's a Reploid, so he didn't age. And he asked to be modified to be an old man. Yeah. Usually things like that will grant you either cyber elves or extra energy or any number of little odds and ends that are going to be helpful along our adventure here. Which is why I sit through those. Also, it's just nice little side things that they put in the game, so you may as well listen to them. Get an idea of who you're helping, what you're doing, and all that. But I think that's the only other one that really happens right now. I think the rest of them happen later on. And I'll be blunt. Back when I beat this before, I used save states. Mostly for convenience, but also there were certain parts of this game that I could not, at the time, get through without save states. They were harsh. I'm intending to use 0 save states this time. I think I can do any of these and they're okay. This isn't one that's particularly bad in any particular order. I could just go top to bottom. Retrieving the data, I think, is the one that's going to be kind of a pain out of this list. Though the boss for this one's also not great. I don't really remember the Destroy Train one, like, at all. So we'll go ahead and just do that. We'll go top to bottom. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, we'll back up and do a different one. As needed. Oh wait, I do remember one mechanic this one has that was kind of annoying. But we'll get there in a second, actually. I know the platform's in the other direction, Seal. I would like to be able to see where I'm jumping, lady. There's nothing over there. Or if there is, it's far enough away that it's not worth going for. But there is an extra life down here. I remember that the extra life was over there. I couldn't remember exactly where. Okay, we got robot bats. I'm pretty sure we can jump up here. Yeah, we can, but we don't actually get anywhere. Okay. Yeah, if I had to make one gripe about this game, it would be that there's a lot of fast enemies that come from off screen, and you have no chance to react to them, particularly, unless you know they're coming. But that's kind of a universal issue with Mega Man in general. So it's not really something I can say is a issue specific to this game. Just some of them give you better options for dealing with that kind of thing than others. This one, I don't recall you getting very many options for dealing with that, short of just constantly swinging. But yeah, you want to cut those electrical wires so you can get under them without whacking into them. When I first played this, I didn't realize I could cut those for a bit, and it was awful. Because you can get past them, but you basically have to tank your way through them, and it sucks. Especially since, as you can tell, my health's not doing great already. Yeah, as you can see, electricity's good against this guy. It stuns him for a little extra time, so you can just destroy it pretty quick. If you hit it with just regular attacks, it would bounce back and then pop back up after like a second. Electricity buys you a couple more seconds. And now we're on the train. Oh, wait, I remember the boss of this one now. Oh no. This area also has a timer, since we gotta get to the Cyber Elf before the train arrives at its destination. The timer won't be really too big an issue, though. I'm more expecting dying to be a problem here. Because these punchers are pretty tough. These guys kind of suck to deal with. And up there would have not been any better. There's some bombers, because that's fun. Flyboys. Thankfully, the Flyboys seem to have a pretty good drop rate for healing, so it's not too bad dealing with them. Now, this looks like it would be easy, but give it a minute. It'll make itself apparent why this is a problem rather shortly. Unless I can do this quick. You'll notice he's got 3 layers of health. That's problem number 1. And there's problem number 2. Instant kills spike ceiling. That they are going to constantly be trying to push you into. So if you aren't attentive, you're going to be dead. They also really like to limit your spacing so that you can't avoid it. Thankfully, we have enough power that we can just crunch through it, and it's not really an issue. You come into that unprepared and not expecting the spike ceiling, done. Dead. I died a lot on that one back in the day. But, boom, another rank A. Expect to see me get Slayer a lot, because I have a tendency to just tear through enemies. You could get other ratings at rank A if you get higher amounts of other points. This is basically, there's a set of code names based on your rank, and then there's an internal set of code names based on what your highest stat was. We'll go ahead and just do the next mission straight off, because I don't think there's anything else that triggers yet. Oh yeah, there's now also 2 new objectives down here. I don't remember if the Rescue Kolbor one's only temporary, so We'll continue down the list, and if Kolbor ends up getting screwed because of that, I might go back and fix it. They're not kidding about the hordes of hostile enemies, by the way. I wasn't given the option to save that time. Well, that could be a problem. And that's why I usually am in the habit of saving immediately before talking to Seal about missions, because it doesn't always give you the option to save for some reason. Yeah, welcome to the desert zone, where there's lots of birds and awful things like these bear traps all over the place. And that's why the bear traps are a problem, is because some of these have shifting sands because of these spinners. And it becomes just awful. Because you're basically just getting free cheap damage put on you in certain parts. I kind of want that. So I'm actually going to turn around for that. I really should be shooting these so I get easy gun experience. Oh, these stay broke, huh? Okay, I can get up there like this, though, I think. Just need to dispose of the bird. And nope, I can't reach that from here. Well, that's just SOL. That's fine. Because I am going to need the gun now and then, so I should keep my gun leveled up, or I'm going to be in trouble. You'll notice they understand where you're going to take a lot of damage, so they have put big health pickups in some of the best places. Getting to this, to hit this with the saber, is kind of a pain. You can absolutely do it, but you more or less have to hit with a charge swing in order to hit it in a meaningful way. And here's the boss, Anubis Necromancer III. This guy's a pain. Yet he has the gall to call me old-timer. Yeah, the thing you want to watch out for is his staff will fly around and pursue you, or it will go back to his hands directly. You have to make a judgment call which of the two it's gonna do to a degree. Usually it's one then the other, though. And this is the other problem. Those will kill you instantly, I'm pretty sure, if they crush you. So if you're not ready for that, that will fuck you up too. And then there's the zombies he raises. Oh, god damn it. He caught me with that one because it didn't do the thing I expected it to. Because as I said, the pattern is sort of back and forth with that, but it doesn't always do it. Why is his health not going down? If I remember right, electricity is actually a bad choice against him. He's not that dangerous once you get a handle on fighting him, Okay, it's not an instant kill. The spikes on top might be kill spikes. I remember dying to that attack a lot. As you can see, this guy's not so bad once you get a handle on him. Because you just generally need to hit him twice if you hit him decently hard, and then he'll go back into the ground. I fucked up, though. This is gonna be bad. Because the zombies can grab you. We literally would have had that if I hadn't stopped to get the zombies out of my way. I could have just jumped over them, turned, and hit him. But I instead stupidly chose to go for the zombie clear. Yeah, basically, as long as you can keep him in this loop, this is a pretty easy fight. Because the zombies are never an issue, because they never can get close to you, generally. So you just have to worry about this attack, which this attack is almost guaranteed to chip damage you at some point. Because of the simple fact that you can't always jump over the spikes. And fight's over. A lot of these bosses are not hard, unless you make them hard by doing the wrong thing. That guy took me forever to beat back in the day, because I never figured out the fact that it was 2 good hits and he goes into the sand. So I never got the pattern down completely. Yeah, and that's the other issue, by the way. We now have to go back, dragging this half-dead man along behind us. Because there's no other transceivers in this area. And all the enemies is, of course, it's a Mega Man style game, have respawned. And he can die. I am 80% sure he can in fact die. If you're not careful. He does have the sense to stay behind you and stay still if you're not moving. Thing is, he is at the same time a little stupid and doesn't understand jumping. Unless he's forced to jump. So if you go above him, he might not understand. Damn it. These shooters are a real issue, because unless you kill them fast, they're gonna get a shot off on him, pretty much, guaranteed. Because you can properly space for the shots, but wherever you stand, he can't stand. Thankfully, those stay broken. You more or less either have to take the hit for him, or break the shot out of the air. Oh yeah, and if you go too fast, he just kind of sits there. I don't remember how many times he can get hit and get away with it, which is why I'm tanking the hits for him now. Those shots also don't do a lot of damage to me, so we're kind of fine if I sit there and eat those. long as you pull him at a decent pace, the birds aren't an issue. Oh, come on now, game. We're just about out of here, though. Yep, there we go. Mission completed. Yeah, you'll notice our rating for that one, terrible. Because it took a while and we had to retry. We also got our head kicked in. Let's poke around the base again right quick. I think things don't really... Oh yeah, some of the guys we've rescued will be around. And I don't know why these big claw bot guys have the same face as the regular guys. It's a little weird. You would think they'd have their own unique face, but apparently they do not. For some reason. Okay. The usual thing that happens around this time. Okie doke. Wanted to make sure I wasn't missing important Discord pings again. You know how that goes. We almost have enough crystals for what I remember that guy wanting. Wasn't it 250 he wanted? Yeah, going in here again is pointless. Yeah, you know, the kind that actually gets anything done without just dying miserable death? Yes. I understand why you're reassured by my presence. I'm just letting that text go on screen because it's a little bit of background information as to how the Cyber Elves work and such. I wouldn't say I'm a rookie either, boyo, but I was probably before your time. I'm pretty sure a lot of things won't actually trigger until an actual plot moment happens. But they will say different things. I don't remember how many missions I have to do before the plot event happens. Is why I'm trying to be a little cautious. Rescue Kolbor is still there. Duel in the Desert is now here, as well as Find Hidden Base. I don't think it's clear an entire list. I think it's clear X amount off a list. Also, give me 1 second. I don't like to keep people waiting too long because you never know when somebody genuinely needs to hear something. Yeah, this is back where we were stored. This shouldn't be too bad a mission. Of course, now there's all kinds of traps they put in here. This is still a mess. Of course, I don't think they're ever gonna clean it up. Why would they? I forget if these are actually unkillable or if they just take an asinine amount of damage. I'm currently leaning toward asinine amount of damage. Fuck you too, game. Oh, wait, I think I remember why we're able to hit them at all. It's because I can use the lightning to stun them in place. Yeah. I, of course, stunned it in the worst possible angle, but you can do it. So really, stunning them is oftentimes not the choice you want to make. We are nearly dead. We are nearly dead. We are nearly dead. This really sucks. Just for sake of argument, though, I'm just gonna sit here and hammer on this for a moment and see if it dies. Yeah, no. Pretty sure that just won't die. I could use the elf, but I think I actually take a worse hit on my score at the end for using the elf than I do for dying. I also meant to jump, not slash there. But I instead, of course, just threw myself straight into the laser. Find the computer room. Eek. No, 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 no. No, no, no. No, 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 no. Oh, come on. If you hit things in just the slight wrong order, you will not get your dash jump off a wall. Zero will just decide, oh, you want off the wall? Okay, goodbye. Splat. It's me. Tag, you're dead. Fuck you. Actually gonna kill my way through here this time instead of sneaking through all this mess. The amount of shots coming in from those ceiling tanks were just getting to be annoying. As you can see, you can wend your way through all of those lasers without it being an issue at all. Without having to stun them or anything. God damn it. The timing on those slams is a pain. There we go, we made it. Massive energy reading. Oh no! Danger, danger, Will Robinson. Maha Ganeshriff. I'll absolutely try. First and foremost, I'm going to need to remember how to deal with his attacks. which is going to take some doing, because if I remember right, his attacks kind of suck to deal with. You'll notice he doesn't hold up too well to electricity. So we can definitely kill him pretty straightforward. It's just surviving him hitting us that's going to be an issue. That's right, keep trying to hit us with the 1,000 hands. Oh, fuck me. Yep, the bomb that he spat out back got me. The spin dash he does is the hardest part of his kit to avoid. Mostly because you have to get over him, but behind the bomb, to not get hit by the bomb. But going into this with full health, we'll probably win this just fine, as long as he doesn't decide to be a complete pain in the ass. The second swing, you just dash under him, get a free hit. Bad. And up. Come on now. Die. He started getting real pain in the ass boss mode there. But that's another boss done. Right. That's what's kind of unfortunate with this one. Now the place is going to self-destruct. You need to boogie. But it's going to have shutter doors slamming shut in your face wherever you saw those doors before. So you have to kill them fast. Because if you're too slow, the ceiling will land on your head and you'll die. Thankfully, you'll notice most of the lasers and such are gone. So you don't have to worry about enemies on your way out of here, because they all sensibly evacuated. Mission completed. That one's not too bad. My rating's probably still gonna kinda stink because we died twice, but eh. I'm not here for high ratings, I'm here to make it through. Yep, another C rank. We absolutely could have taken down the elephant in one go, but I made a mistake. Yeah, I think that actually is legitimate, useful information that he's gonna have about our saber. Yeah, he now can give us another weapon. And you'll notice that there's a certain amount of levels each of these can get. Like, we're 4 out of 7 with the saber. There's 5 levels to the triple rod, and 4 to the buster. We'll go ahead and play around with the triple rod for a bit. You'll notice it's not exactly got much reach. But it, as he said, can attack in 8 directions, including down if you're in the air. Yep. He reminds us that charging is required in order to use elements. Yeah, he's gonna keep yelling at me every time I try to give him an insufficient number of energy crystals. But I think that's the only notable thing that happened at this stage of the game, so we may as well go ahead and carry on. And we'll just keep on going down the list. Okay, they want energy. Go destroy a base to get energy. Got it. got it, boss. I am gonna try to make use of the triple rod somewhat. Mostly because I never really used this, but it did seem like it would actually be pretty potent if it was worked out enough. So I'm gonna try to get it leveled up a little bit so we can see how it works. Those things, if you hit them, they topple over and are basically stunned for a little bit. I'm not sure what that high point is for. But you'll notice on certain enemies you can hit them multiple times with the triple rod. Not even just attacking multiple times, just it stays in them long enough that they get hit multiple times. And that's kind of what I was interested in, because I think against bosses that might actually be huge. If we get caught by the sensors, we have to then rush through the area for the shutter not to lock us out. But as long as you can pretty efficiently clear enemies, you shouldn't have too much issue with these sensors. Because they move at set patterns. This one's kind of a pain, though, because you basically have to fit under it at that one specific time or you're hosed. Damn it! Enemies will always be an issue with that kind of thing as well. I don't remember what's behind this, but we may as well check. I think we fail now because it's shut. Yep. Game over. I couldn't remember if that was a fail state automatically or if that was you have to do something different / need to break it down or something. So that's an unfortunate forced restart, but it is what it is. There we go. You'll notice that it's now extending when I use it. I would not be surprised if there's some cheese where I can use that on certain opponents to do a lot of damage. I can definitely grab that. I just need to jump at the exact right spot. Which involves Zero actually jumping when I want him to. So you'll notice we're just, like, barely missing it. There we go. This way we're at full health for this nonsense over here. Yes, yes, sensors, blah, blah, blah. Now, mind you, I'm pretty sure it's entirely possible to clear this even if you get detected. You just need to not get distracted like I did by loot. Oh, okay, I have to tap it again for it to extend. That's why I was a little bit confused. Ah, oh, come on! My foot! Is you extend a little bit when you dash. Oh, boogie, 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 boogie. There we go. don't think there's anything under that elevator. I'm pretty sure that's just a death trap, so I'm not gonna mess with that. Dang it. And that's the other part of why this area kind of sucks, is it's very easy to just get tapped off the edge and die. I might skip the factory for the moment. Factory kind of sucks. Yeah, we'll come back to the factory in a moment. Let's go get Kelblor. Yeah, you know, the Kelblor team of one. I think that's just death down there. I'm not gonna risk that. This level really loves its spinners on every damn platform. So get used to me getting a little annoyed about that. That's just gonna be kind of a universal constant after a point. Am I the only one who thought I landed on that platform? Because it sure looked like I did. And then I went whee down into the abyss. That's why you didn't see me, like, react or try to move to the side or anything, because I was just flabbergasted by the fact that I went through the platform. What I think happened is I, like, landed on that very edge pixel of it, and that actually doesn't count, apparently. So I need to land a little more centered on those. Which, we can life loop this, so it's not an issue. It's just gonna be bad for my score. Or did I miss where the extra life was already? Then there's times like that where you just get knocked right out of the air. Swatted like a fly. I really should be grabbing those crystals anyway, because we're gonna need them. And then there's times where Zero won't jump because he's still in the damage animation, and then you land on something moving, and it still doesn't give you your jump back. This one I don't think will be too bad, considering we went through it fine initially. It just started turning into a comedy of errors after that. I started rushing stupidly. Which will always get you in trouble. You do not want to headlong rush foolishly into things in these kind of games. You want to go fast, but you don't want to, like, go crazy and just charge off into hell, not knowing what you're getting into. So here's where the extra life. As long as I grab that every time, we're basically golden. It won't matter. Or how many times I die at that point. And there's even a safety platform down there. But the thing is, if you fumble the swing at all, you're kinda SOL. You can just shoot them if you want to use the gun. And I would recommend that if you're not an idiot like me who tries to sword everything. The gun will make your life a lot easier. It's just one of those stubborn pride things to a degree. And I just enjoy the sword gameplay more than the run, jump, shoot, man. It's a refreshing change from how normal Mega Man works, where you're running around going bang, 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 bang all the time. It's also why I would play Zero in the rest of the games that allow for that. Because I just enjoy the saber combat. Even if it does lead to a lot of really frustrating moments sometimes, because you are definitely making the game harder for yourself in some respects. It's actually easier in others, because the saber does a ton of damage. So certain types of enemies in certain areas will be easier. But knockback is, as ever, the most powerful thing in a platformer, because you get one tiny nudge, and off you go. Goodbye. You go space. Goodbye. See you again, never. Chop, chop. Chop, chop. And now I get all the health, yes. Now that I don't need it. Jesus. I wish I had an E-Tank. Just one E-Tank, so I could store all the shit I'm getting. Z-Saber skill up. Yeah, fast charge is actually really nice. May not necessarily seem super noticeable, but it's helpful. Isn't there a flyer that shows up on this one, or was it the next one that he shows up on? It's the next one. Yeah, I saw his foot. Oh, of course the Cyber Elf spawned out of him. I don't want it that bad. That's a free elf. Give it a sock, send it on its way. Oh, and he spawns. You can attack while on a ladder, by the way, but you can't move is more the problem. And those guys have the unfair advantage of they can just come up straight under you. That one's on me. That one's completely on me. I could have waited till the platforms were closer together instead of chucking myself into the void. One of these days I'll learn. And don't be surprised if you see a lot of deaths like that where I take a needlessly risky jump or something. So I'm like, I don't feel like waiting for it to go back down. I can totally land this. I totally didn't land it. Because we've all been there. We've all been like, yeah, it's gonna work out great, kid. We've all been fools once. Most people more than once, myself included. Yep, those are sure some great missiles you got there, buddy. Good for you. Yeah, as you can see, those tops spin up, speed up when they spot you. And wait for the flyer to come back around. Of course, he just happens to be over there. You son of a bitch. Yeah, you want to jump to kind of mitigate the knockback, as you'll recover before you actually fall off. Oh god, not again, not again, not again, not again. Whew. Okay. Okay, everything's fine. Everything is just fine. Panic over. Jesus. Okay, now we got where we're supposed to be. Time to fight an actual Guardian. The Guardian that was in charge of Aztec Falcon. And you'll notice we all have that similar helmet style and that nice little triangle on the front. There's kind of a universal design style between the Guardians, myself, and you'll see soon who else has a similar design style. Electricity's not working on Harpua, which is not surprising. This is one fight I might actually use the nurse in the interest of not having to repeat it. Because as you can see, Harpua has a lot of health. They're a Guardian. They're kind of a big deal. God damn it. I got distracted by the level up prompt. The good news is, that's actually going to be a useful move in this fight. We can now spin in the air. It makes our air attacks a little better, theoretically. Yes, atone for my sins. Brr, 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 brr. That was a terrible choice on my part. Fencing with him was a really bad idea. Okay, no, that was a terrible choice in general on my part. I know exactly what I should have done there. I should stick to the charge in this fight, actually. Because it's got that knockdown, he'll fall down, try to shoot at me, and then repeat his pattern. We can just keep him in a loop if we actually just use my damn brain a little bit. We may have to repeat this entire section, though, because I've only got one more shot at it. And I'm not going to use the nurse unless I'm close to winning, is you lose the nurse even if you die. I keep forgetting about that final wave he does, though. Yeah, as you can see, they can be kept in a loop. Let's go ahead and heal. So I'm fairly confident we can win this round. Except when I fuck up and have them at the wrong range. God damn it! I let them get to a bad part of the pattern. Yep. Damn it! I easily could have won that, but I was stupid. That's the thing that gets frustrating with these, is you know exactly what you did wrong, but by the time you finish processing the fact that you made that mistake, it's kind of unfixable. But we can absolutely do this one. This one is 100% doable. There's nothing in here I need lightning for, so I'm gonna turn it off so I don't accidentally start fighting Harpooia with lightning again. Flying enemies will always be the most annoying thing in video games, mostly because of the ones that can just go through the terrain and just be untouchable, and then just poke you in the foot or something to be a pain in the ass. Ladder, please. You just gotta hope that their shots don't line up with when you're jumping in this section. Pretty much. Of course I went the wrong way to avoid falling to my death. Why wouldn't I have? Brain, work with me here, buddy. I know I left the crystals behind. I just want out of here. I'm not gonna leave the one up behind. And I'm not gonna leave the health behind either. The crystal was the only one that really didn't matter to pick up. It'll be an issue long term, but short term it doesn't goddamn matter at all. But as you can see, as usual, knockback is the most powerful thing in these games. I mentioned it before, but you're really seeing the prime example of it in a stage like this where there's so little ground to work with in certain parts. So you just get bumped a hair into death. And there's really very little way to respond to it in that section. They were kind enough to give you a couple get-out-of-jail-free cards down there, but they're not in the spots I need them to be. At this point, I'm mostly trying to make up some score by going fast. But at the rate we're going, our rating is probably going to be absolutely awful because of the amount of retries that are going to be required to get through this. And the heal pause, which I know is just kind of a staple, really keeps getting me in trouble too. Where your gameplay stops for a second because you're healing. Wow, we got a lot of hackers, huh? Ooh. I wish I knew I had half Margot. I would have actually considered using him just to make my life simpler. Oh well. Harpooia can be beat just fine. I just need to get the pattern to stay stable how I want it to be, and actually do this properly without slipping. Because as you saw, I can literally just infinite loop this fight. I just need to not miss Kinda like that, yeah. Missing is a bad thing. It's then very easy to get caught in a worse loop. Yeah, no, that one's just over. Can't believe I screwed that one up that badly. Because you just need to hit him before he gets, like, more than halfway across, and then you can generally just keep looping it. But I keep swinging too early. Okay, that one was safe. Oh yeah, he also can do this, and that really hurts. How did that... What? Oh, for fuck's sake. I was thrown off by hitting the back of that shot. I did not even consider the fact that I could run into the back of that shot. Fuck me. This is an easy fight. I really shouldn't be having this much trouble. But he bobs around like a damn idiot all the time, which makes it such a pain to hit him. Like, he flies like he's goddamn drunk. That might have been bad positioning. Nope, that one's okay. Yep, that one was too close, though. Get him over there now. Why have I done, like, no damage, though? Have I been... What? Almost every time I've gotten thrown off by something partway through the pattern because something didn't make sense. How did I do no damage to it? Was I only, like, hitting him with the edge of the charge? And that does that much less? Like, I know hitting with the edge of the charge does less damage. But I did not realize it would do, like, negative damage. If I only just touch him with the edge of it. As I warned you guys, I knew I was going to hit some stumbling blocks. I did not realize it was going to be these specific fights that were going to be stumbling blocks. I thought I was going to have more trouble with the Necromancer fight, and honestly, we got out of Aztec Falcon better than I thought I would. I'm gonna go back to the factory against my better judgment, just because it's bugging me that I'm leaving something undone. Then again, I never claimed to be good at this, I just claimed that I enjoyed this game. I suppose there's that as well. Ah, to hell with it, I don't need it that badly. How do I get past other... Okay, this spider's a real fucking problem. He'll just eventually kill me if I don't deal with that. Okay. Like, you have to, like, squeak past... No, can't even do that. I'm not sure how you get past that. I genuinely don't know. I mean, it's not a real issue because we're past it anyway. I did not mean to jump straight in there. I meant to slide down the wall. Oh, and of course there's no checkpoint in there. Why would there be a checkpoint there? The checkpoint's probably right past where I just killed myself, like an idiot. It's gonna be one of those days again. What temperature is it? Feels like... Actually, are you fucking kidding me? It's apparently 80 degrees today for some reason, even though it was like 60 an hour ago. What the hell is going on with this world? I just noticed suddenly that I was just cooking sitting here, and I'm like, the hell is going on? It's the middle of October. It shouldn't be 80 degrees. Especially when it was just like 40 degrees the other day. And that's all Fahrenheit, for anyone who might get confused. That's all meant to be in Fahrenheit. Yep, so I can't break this block. I can't jump over it. There's nowhere to reach to jump over it. But the only thing I can see is you have to, like, get a perfect jump underneath this. And squeeze past it. But I'm not even sure that's physically possible. Like, I'm sure there's somebody out there that's gonna be like, oh yeah, you could just do it by doing this. And I'm just gonna be like, yep, sure, why not? Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last time. Wow, I actually timed that. I'm surprised. There's goodies up there, but honestly, I'm not that interested in them. Not enough to risk my life. Okay. Get the hell out of here. Because after that section, I don't think this place is going to be that bad. I want to say that was the worst, like, insta-death section in this part of the mission set. That and the area we were just doing. Because I think these will just hurt, but I have zero intention of finding out. If I can help it. Okay, the boss door's there. Is there something nice down here, then? No, that just leads back down to where we were. Oh, god damn it, game! Why must you have everything set up exactly right to fuck the player over? Why are you like this? My own curiosity, once again, is such a problem. And that was the moving platform issue again, where sometimes Zero won't adhere to a moving object, even though you're holding the button in the correct direction and everything. Thankfully, there was another one underneath us to save us from that. Okay, good to know. Those just hurt. Great. Great. I'm so glad everything is going wrong now. That is so nice to find out. Let's go into the boss with no lives and half health. Hooray! I may as well heal now, because who knows how much damage this guy's going to do. He could easily just one-shot my ass from the amount of health we had. He's in an energy lab. I'm betting he's not gonna care about electricity. hell even is this thing? Oh, it's this fucking guy. Okay, I remember him now. This fight kinda sucks. And I say it sucks because it's very easy to take a ton of damage and have very little control over the fact that it's happening. Case in point, is he just happened to open up right in the spot I was standing. Ugh. We can absolutely do it, but ugh. I need to get there with not 0 lives. Because I need to remember all those attacks. No more fucking around. Yes. I also don't know why they say the same thing twice here. Like, they could have just skipped that whole first time she mentions the shutters and then just point out the sensors to you. And it would make absolute sense what she's trying to warn you about. Like, I have to assume it's like a dash jump of a very narrow type or something that gets you through that without getting caught. Since Zero's model gets a little thinner when he's dashing. You just kind of like squeak your way barely through, perhaps, I don't know. I want the crystals so I can feed the guy, but at the same time I'm not so interested. I saw that one up there, but the odds of me trading a life for a life really is too high. Because those platforms are untrustworthy. I think if I can get to that fight with full health and my nurse, I think I can win that fight just fine. What is it that I'm seeing floating around my face here? No, it's a gnat. Okay. I was trying to figure out if that was a spider coming down right in front of my face, like these guys, or if that was just a gnat floating around. What? I know that looked like I just had an idiot moment, but I was still holding left, and Zero just kind of stopped. And by the time Brain processed the fact that he stopped and fell like a stone, I could not avert the disaster. I don't know if this controller's having issues or what at this point. Because this has never had issues with the D-pad before, really. So I don't think it's an issue of that kind. Also, can I just point out the fact that this stage has 0 checkpoints in it? For a stage designed like this and the length that this is, I feel like there should be a checkpoint in here somewhere, but there is absolutely 0 checkpoints. Maybe that's the other reason why this is called Mega Man Zero, for 0 checkpoints. It's like, I thought I remembered there being checkpoints in this game, but maybe I'm thinking of the later ones. Because they do get a little more generous, even if they do actually get harder as well. They get a bit nicer while still being difficult. This one's just kind of brutal. Which, it, it really fits in with the old days, so it's kind of fair. Ah, okay, you can jump over that. It just really does not look like you can. Which allows us to get in here and get this. Get this. Does this lead anywhere good? Oh, how much more I bet you could actually jump up here from certain parts of that other part there, and you can just break in through the vent and avoid all of this shit. And that's not meant to be sending you through that way. It's meant to send you the other way around. On the bright side, trying something 1,000 times means you learn something sometimes. That one was on me. Brain just kind of had a moment. Yep. Yep. Just remember, everybody, just because you really like a game and remember it fondly does not mean it doesn't have parts that are going to be absolutely infuriating. Because there can also be the good old nostalgia goggles problem. Because we are, after all human. We can make mistakes. Ah, I can get up here. I just didn't land here the first time when I tried this. This presumably leads to that vent that has the extra life in it. Yep, there we go. So that bypasses that whole segment. This just got a lot better. I knew I was in trouble as soon as I left the ground, but at the same time, if I didn't jump there, I was hosed anyway. Because I was gonna miss my timing on getting onto the other one. I would have then had to jump backwards and pray it worked out. Which I suppose I should have tried, jumping backwards instead of doing what I basically knew was going to be death. But, you know, hindsight's 20/20. On the bright side, we are still gaining more crystal by doing this over and over again. So you'll notice even those decent-sized containers don't actually give you that much, which is unfortunate. But I also can't think of that many things you'd be using crystal for unless you are actively raising up a bunch of cyber elves that need crystal. Which, as I've mentioned before, you kind of don't need to. So... I want to say some of the ones you can raise up with crystal are better than the regular ones. I don't remember. There's too much I don't remember with this game. This was a... As far as finishing it in any serious capacity, this was a one and done for me, like most things are. Yep. I should have just... Ugh. See, the problem there was I was indecisive mid-air. I was like, I should just go for the closer one because it's going to be up by the time I land. But Brain's like, but what if it's not? We may as well just go for the one we see because we know it's there. And, well, that move absolutely just fucked me. But now this whole segment over here makes sense because we now know that the vent exists. So I was curious about this, but it, at face value, seemed like I couldn't make it up here, so I just gave up on the idea after that. Once again, I should have just jumped it back to the other one. Because I keep thinking I can climb back up on those, but the problem is they move at just the right speed where it's basically impossible to do so unless you get it in the first jump or so. If you have to jump multiple times, you're basically SOL. See, is doing exactly that solves my problem. But the reflex is always to scrabble at the platform that you're already at because it's right in front of you. So you always end up with a problem there. The good news is we had that life loop keeping this going. That's the reason why I don't hate this. Like I hate other games that do similar things, is this is smart enough to understand that this section is awful and hard, so it gives you extra lives in easy reach once you understand where they are, so you can just maintain a life loop the entire time. And then you never need to worry about gaming over completely. So you have the capacity to learn the fight and learn to deal with it. Does it tank your rating? Yeah. Does that matter unless you're trying to go for, like, awesome scores and such? No, not really. It changes some of how the game is, so you're not going to see how all the fights work entirely. Because it basically puts you in kind of easy mode a little bit. But there's nothing wrong with playing games on easy mode, as has been a topic of discussion frequently lately. Like, I never claimed to be some kind of pro at games of this style. I just have knowledge of games of this style, and I enjoy games of this style. Oh yeah, he gets his arms back. Right, that's why destroying those is kind of pointless. I'm supposed to just hit the core and dodge the attacks. Breaking arms just kind of helps a bit. Like, there's certain arms that it feels like I should break, like these green ones. I feel like are probably ones I should have broke, rather than the other ones, but they're also the ones that are kind of hard to break, because they're real good at hitting you. It's okay. That's fine. It's fine. I just need to hit him once. And we win. Okay, we got it. We got there. We made it through. And now we get the fire chip, which is why I remembered that the fire chip was in this one, is why I stubborned back into this. Is having other options is going to actually be very important. Because different enemies have different weaknesses, as usual. 5 retries, though. Oof. Yep, and now this happens. Yes, save data before starting mission. Are you fucking kidding me? I would not want to have to redo that other mission. Okay, fire is pretty good generally. I mean, it's not even that big. I don't know why you're calling it a giant mechanoid. I mean, I guess it's relatively big. Nose cone's a weak point. But yeah, this fight is one of the places where this spin's really good because it protects you from a lot of what this guy spawns and does. You just gotta watch out for the spikes. There we go. Yeah, this thing's not bad to fight. It's just one of those things where it takes a little bit of doing and it interrupts the flow of what you've been doing. Yeah. Fast clear time gets you speedster, as you'd expect. And that actually helped fix our rating issue a little bit, so that's good. Yeah, that thing would have tore down their walls and such and left them wide open to be torn apart. So that needed to be taken care of. Ah, yeah. I didn't realize this was in this one. I thought this was only in 2 and further. Yeah, sure, have some crystals. That's fine. You get up and get out of my way now and let me go over here. And in here is a wounded guy. This is the one we saved back in the desert. And another Cyber Elf. This Cyber Elf in particular, I believe, is one that's actually pretty strong. I want to say it's actually one of those two nurses we now have that we just got. Oh yeah, and the one that says the enemy can't shake me, I believe he literally just attaches himself to enemies and just sits there and does slight damage slowly over time. Which, it's not a bad thing. And he'll just take damage on them, which is helpful. It's just not, like, game-changing. Let me actually go to the transceiver, though, and download those other nurses in case things go really sideways for me in a fight. Because they're basically the only ones I really need. So can I feed the... No, I can't feed the ones that are already good to go. I forget what this one does. It's expensive as all hell, though, so never mind. Yeah, we basically tow those around like we're carrying a bunch of healing potions. When we get into the later stages of this game, I may very well also farm a bit to make sure we have some of those on hand, because let me tell you, some of the later fights make these fights that I've been having issues with look like child's play. Now that we have the fire sword, I think fire is actually good against Harpolia. We'll go ahead and do this one again now. And even though the stage is kind of annoying, the track here is really good. I like this song. It's simple, but it works. I believe this, just like some of the other games Zero's in, you can reverse your spin to do more damage if you can get the timing down right as well. Like if you just change direction while you're spinning in the air, I think you'll be able to trigger the attack kind of twice. And then sometimes rockets just knock you out of the air and make your life sad. Hang on. Let me get rid of this blanket, because it's becoming uncomfortable to sit on top of. I don't need it now that it's apparently 80 goddamn degrees. The weather in this world is absolutely fucked. For some reason. I bet there's one of those that I can ride down and find something, and I just would never know it. Are you kidding me, game? Why is it being like this now? Especially since I think I didn't save after getting the shield boomerang, did I? Or equipping the... Yep. Oh no, I did get the shield boomerang, I just didn't equip the fairies. God. Nah. Swear. I make my own problems, and I know that. But that does not make it any less absolutely frustrating. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to own the fact that I made that at issue for myself. That 110% on me. No. Fix the mistake, stupid. Also, that should tell you just how many times we've died and how many issues we've had where I'm at an hour of playtime and we've been streaming for 2 hours. So yeah, this has not been going as well as I would like. Because if this had gone smoothly, this would have been a one and done game today. I would have been able to play it like probably for like 4 or 5 hours and beat the game. But I also knew that was never going to happen. I'm too rusty at this to fly through it that well. And there's honestly just plainly too many instant deaths in this game for me to guarantee I could pull that off, even on a good day. Of course, he just happened to fire at that exact second. What? I don't know why he didn't die to that. I'm also not sure where the hell I'm supposed to go from here. Because none of anything reaches that, so that's not even really a safety position. That's just a, oh hey, sit here and think about your life choices position. Oh, wait, I think I might have realized how I was supposed to handle that. How much of a bet I could have electrified that and powered it back up so it would move? How much you want to bet that's exactly what I needed to do? And I'm just an idiot because I'm getting angry. That would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? So I'm just sitting here getting all fired up over nothing, and then common sense solutions don't occur to me anymore. Well, we're here to find out again, I guess. Yep, there we go. Okay. Well, ain't that a hell of a thing? That is, if anything, actually a lot easier than doing that properly. Huh. Interesting. Because here we are at Harpooya already. Well, fuck me. Maybe I should just intentionally jump off of there every time. Huh. It's the same thing as the other stage, where there's just the one thing I didn't realize that makes the whole stage slide into place so much easier, and I just sit there kicking myself the whole time. Nope, fire does not seem to do, like, increased damage or anything to them. I did a terrible thing by doing that. But on the bright side, I can now hit them over there. And that puts me in a good position on that side. Let's see if I can make this work. Since we're having weird damage issues no matter which one I'm using, let's check again on the lightning and see if I'm just stupid. No, that seems to not really do, like, an incredible anything to him either. But at least it's consistently doing damage even on the arc from it. It's so easy to miss when they're doing that stupid sweep constantly. Because they're trying to go for the grab is the thing. Wasted a fairy. Oh, now it checkpoints here. Wait. Did it checkpoint here last time? Am I going crazy? I'm starting to wonder if I should have just taken today off. We'll roll with this as it is and see how this goes. The shield boomerang might be a better weapon against this guy, but I don't have it leveled, so that's why I'm not using it. I've made a horrible mistake already, which is basically gonna throw this fight out the window. Oh, wait, yeah, we had to have... Oh, sure, that just reaches all the way into the corner. Sure, yep, sure. Let's just make sure the player has zero recourse if that situation happens, unless they happen to get the frame-perfect hit to stop it from having priority over yours. Sure, why not? Remember, as I said, once again, just because somebody can love a game does not necessarily mean it's a game without its problems. Or even necessarily that it has to be a good game, honestly. I still think this is a good game, don't get me wrong. But it has problems. Specifically that it's a little too nasty in some of its move choices. And it definitely suffers from a similar AI to games before it. Where it's just the absolute fuck you player AI. I took less damage from that than I would have from the charge, which is why I went for that. From the grab, rather. And the other issue with the Harpooya fight is he just plain has too much fucking health. For the amount of damage they can do to you so easily, they have way too much health. I have to assume at this point that the... Oh, sure, you just have a version of that that just goes across the whole fucking arena, huh? Great. Hang on, let me deal with this and then I'll explain my thought process, because my brain's about to screw me. we're hosed. Yep, couldn't jump high enough. What I was gonna say is, unless I can get like an ice chip or something, it makes no sense that Harpooya has 0 weaknesses to any of what I have. Something's not adding up there. Unless maybe I'm supposed to use just plain attacks? Because that would make a degree of sense considering certain things that I'm not gonna get into because I keep forgetting I don't want to spoil things, and then brain's like, oh yeah, I should probably mention this thing, but no, I can't mention that thing. I also thought I needed to get a level with the shield boomerang before I could throw it. If I can just throw the shield boomerang straight away, that might work. But also of note, Harpooya is another one of those fights that the Buster would make a lot easier. I'm just being an idiot. I want to note that for people. The Buster would absolutely make that a lot easier. I'm pretty sure a full charge shot from the Buster also knocks him down, so you can literally just knock him down and knock him down and knock him down and he just dies. And I would be the first to say I'm also honestly bad about switching weapons at all in this game. Because you can use the R button to switch between weapons quickly. Because you literally just hold R to use your secondary at any given time, and you can let go of it to immediately swap mid-charge. But I just get so focused in and tunnel visioned that I don't remember to do that at all. So whatever I choose as my primary ends up being the only thing I use. Now, as we learned, down here is just better. So we're just gonna go down here. You know, unless I somehow overjump and just destroy myself instantly. That's also an option that I can do, I guess. We're gonna try no element this time against Harpooya and see if that makes a difference. We're also gonna try the shield boomerang a bit. That is if we can even get to him without just getting killed by something random. Let's see if he reacts to the shield boomerang at all. You know, if I don't just whiff the throw entirely. Okay, he does get knocked down by that, but his attacks go straight through the shield. So the shield is useless. The boomerang could be useful. It did save me from being grabbed. But I think the Archon is jank enough with how he moves that I don't think it's wise for me to be doing this. If we keep losing to him, I will just give in and Buster him down. But I want to try to do it my way. Of course, it would help a lot if the game wouldn't sometimes just eat my charge. Oh, he can turn those around. Okay. Yeah, this is too slow. This is not working. I didn't level the... That's the other problem, though, is if you focus on one weapon too much, nothing else is leveled at all, and you're just kind of shit out of luck. I am actually going to keep the shield boomerang on for a little bit longer because I want to test something else. Because this will prove whether any of these elements actually do anything to him. You know, if I don't miss every fucking throw. Come on, man. You know how to throw a boomerang to hit something. You've done this a dozen times in other games. Quit being terrible. Just embarrassing yourself in front of the internet. Nope, neither of the elements really do anything to him, so they do not matter. Okay. Of course, I wasted all my lives on science, so we're basically SOL on this round with him. Yep. Especially when I'm an idiot and just do everything I can in my power to screw this up. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and train up the Buster. We're going through this area, and then we're gonna use it to kill him. I don't want to give up, but I also don't want to spend the entire stream fighting Harpooya because I'm screwing up simple shit. This is also no fun for you guys if I sit here and frustrate myself over stupid shit. There's a reason why the Buster and Sword are the recommended starting in combination. Because they're both very good for certain things. And I really should be swapping between them instead of doing what I'm doing again, which is only using primary. Because I never learn. Ow. God damn it, brain. Apparently I didn't need electricity. I was just releasing that shot to switch to electricity so that I could then do the thing. And instead I've now shot my platform away and okay, it does come back. Good. Fucking hell. Don't get me wrong, I understand that you guys enjoy it when I get annoyed a bit, but I also know it's no fun when I'm getting super, super mad. Also, I do not have enough charge on this gun. I don't know if this is gonna work. I thought I'd gain a level of gun before we got here. We'll see how this goes. I'm making the same mistakes anyway. I don't think it actually is going to help at all. Well, because it's under-leveled. Like, if I was a better player, I would be switching between the gun and the sword freely to my advantage, and that would make every fight in this game probably significantly easier, because there's definitely some patterns one weapon's good for, and some patterns another weapon will be much better for. The key to this is I need to stop being so damn stubborn about trying to do it the specific way I want to, and accept the fact that I can do it a different way. And stop fucking panicking so easily. That's enough, Harpooya. And there we go. Mission completed. Like I said, I could have done that easily at any time. I just kept fumbling. And that's what was getting me so frustrated. Because I knew I could do it, because I had done it before. But I just kept getting in my own head and getting all crossed up and screwed up, and I kept just making a mess of everything. Really wish I could get like a health extension or something. And as you can see, it reuses areas a bunch. We went back through the disposal site in reverse for that one boss fight. Now we're going back into the same desert area. More or less laid out the same as it was for that rescue mission, just with things like this camel now. And less bear traps. Ah. They want me to go down here. Right, the sides of spikes count in this game. I forgot. Oh, by the way, your life count stays the same between missions. So if your life count gets real low, you're gonna have to do something about that or you're gonna have trouble. But conversely, if your life count's real high, like ours is relatively high at the moment, things are better. Because we don't have to worry as much. Okay, so I need to not switch over too early. There is spikes down there too. Okay. That should be the worst of the spike death problem taken care of. Oh yeah, I think I could have knocked that down, yeah. And that would have provided me a path. Which we need to do here. Which this is what I usually keep the gun for on hand. Just knocking things like this around. Basically just for puzzle solving. And you know how I mentioned the ice chip? Gee, I wonder what we're gonna get here. Could it be the ice chip will be behind the boss of this place? Kind of weird that they have ice underneath the desert, though, isn't it? Seems a little weird. Ah, this is the actual entrance to the hidden base. Okay, I thought I was heading toward goodies, and now I'm in enemy base. Well. Hi. Six more Reploids in the base, huh? Okay. One second, I've got somebody who's asking me a question, and I'd rather just take care of that immediately. I always want to help people out, and that was a little feature of OBS that I learned, so I wanted to pass that on to people who might not know it. Yeah, this is another one where you're kind of supposed to be sneaking, but all it does is trigger more enemies if you get caught in this one, so it really doesn't matter. It's probably faster if you don't get caught at all, but I can just tear through these guys and it doesn't matter. Oh no, they found me! Ah. Oh yeah, I need to deal with the guys who triggered the alarm before I can open the gates, though. That's the issue. Right, now I remember why that's more annoying than I thought. Okay, that's fine. Oh yeah, and you can also end up with an infinite loop of this kind of thing happening, which gets upsetting. I think I can shoot them and they won't trigger the alarm. But if I try to get in close and kill them, then it's a problem. This guy's also evil. You could see him through the bars that he was a bad guy instead of helpful, but... Oh, goddammit. Reflexes? Are you against me? This is a long hallway. I don't trust it. And yeah, we can just shoot them down. Okay. Pop. I said pop. Okay, see, now that's just mean. That's another evil one. Have him just chilling at the bottom of the damn ladder for me. I'm missing, I think, 2 or something. You would think that shooting them would trigger the alarm too. Literally every time I hit the bottom of that ladder, my brain doesn't process things for a second, and thus leads to me ending up not catching the fact that that guy's a problem until too late. Oh, this long hallway just had a friend at the end of it. Okay. Interesting. Did I miss one somewhere? Also, how do they get past these guys so easily? Yep, there's still one missing. I mean, I guess I could just do this. Just keep walking and shooting the whole time. Ah, right, I didn't hit all the top doors because I kept getting distracted by getting charged. That makes sense. I learned this time. My sword passing through his thing triggered him. Amazing. That's another enemy. Hello, gentlemen. How are you doing? Die! Okay, the vision cone is a suggestion. Because I absolutely was not within his little vision cone. And he saw me anyway. Okay, good to know. There's the last one we needed. I seem to recall that there's either a cyber elf or a healing item in one of these as well. But I'm more interested in just getting the hell out of here. We're probably gonna have to do a boss fight to get the train, but that's okay. you'll notice how much easier things are when I actually use both my weapons instead of just trying to sword everything to death. Yep, there we go. Boss is protecting the thingy. What do you know? I really don't like it when she just says good luck like that. Really makes me think something really bad's over here. Blizzax Stagroth. I swear they just kind of rolled a hand across the keyboard after taking a part of a word when they were making the names for these guys, because that's the one thing I can't help but just make fun of with this. Some of these just have super dumb names. Yeah, as you can see, this guy's weak to fire. So this guy's not going to be too bad at all. And he's done. Having their weakness makes them a joke. As it does in any Mega Man game. And now we get the ice chip. Which I think this actually is the thing I would have wanted against Harpooya. I think he is actually weak to ice. But it doesn't matter at this point because we did that fight already. Oh yeah, that's part of the whole issue they're having right now as well, is there's an energy crisis currently. She's working on a sustainable energy source so that nobody has to rely on those energy crystals as much anymore. But the nation of Neo Arcadia, where X is and all these guardians are coming from and everything, wants to keep their monopoly on energy because they have the majority of the processing facilities and such where the energy crystals are. So yeah. That's kind of the main thrust of the plot at the moment, which has not been actually disclosed by the game in any real capacity, which is why I'm telling you all of this now. It gets brought up a little stronger in later games. This one just kind of goes forward and does the thing. I don't think he's got anything else for us. You know, I really feel I didn't ask to be created like this thing in a real weird way. Wait, there's a guy there. Oh, that's right, because as we're rescuing people, this place is repopulating. Right, that makes sense. Because now the people I rescued from there are hanging around in here. God damn it, I'm trying to talk to your friends, not you. Now, apparently no matter which one of them I talk to, it's talking to her anyway. They are all drones. They all have a hive mind. Get me out of here. Wait. It's a nothing. Okay. It's just a cracked wall. We all know my reflexes immediately kick in on cracked walls. Like, aha, there's a thing. Give it to me. Arrgh. There's actually nothing in there. I think now if we go down to the energy room, there's somebody in here now too. Yeah, there's people working here now. Which strange room? Oh yeah, I think that crystal there will keep respawning, by the way, because that's where they store their energy. So you can just kind of keep claiming the hero tags periodically. Unless he's referring to Seal's room, in which case there's nothing strange about her having her own room. I don't know what the hell he's on about. Oh yeah, and that should tell you something about the state of things around here, that there's enemies out here now, when there weren't before. Because there was a resistance guy hanging around over here, preventing us from going any further this way before we did the disposal facility mission. Now we just have access to that area at any time. Not that we'd want to go back there for any real reason, but it exists. It's an option. There's also nobody guarding this anymore. This leads down to the subway area we were in. Basically, the thing is, you have access to all of the areas you've been to once you've accessed them. And you actually have, like, a whole pseudo-open world up here on the surface that you can access. Or you can use the transceiver to go to those places directly. Personally, I would recommend just use the transceiver. It's going to be easier. But if you really want to get around naturally, you can. Huh, Seal's room's sealed now. Interesting. I guess she's doing that to protect her experiments since she's gotten closer to getting the energy source done. Yeah, I'll go kick some ass in the desert. I get the feeling they're really becoming entirely too reliant on us. Now, it is actually important that you clear enemies, though, because I'm pretty sure they will eventually progress to the defense line, and those guys will have to fight. And they're not so good at that, as we've seen, so we kind of need to protect them. Like, of course, some stuff can get through, like the flyers, once they've dropped their load, can go through just fine. The flyers themselves can't do shit. That doesn't matter. It's more if, like, these tanks and these walkers get through. The camels don't move, so they're not an issue. Now, of note, there is a patch to restore... I don't think it restores this game specifically. I think it's the later ones. There is actually blood in some of the later games as you're destroying all your enemies and such. Which, honestly, I don't think it really adds that much to this game, but I think it also adjusts the script in the game to actually be more honest about what's happening instead of hiding things behind words like retire and things like that. Be more accurate to the Japanese release in terms of the wording and everything. In my opinion, it's not worth changing it away from the original US release for that, but if that is something that somebody would prefer, those patches do exist. You just gotta go find them. Oh, you mean the transport chopper we just saw? Wow, such a surprise. Yep, it's time for another Guardian fight. This guy loves to fight. He's Fafnir. As you might imagine, he's the fire one. He's the hothead of the team. And he hits really fucking hard. So don't be surprised if I die on this one a ton as well. I remembered that this one was bad, is why I was kind of on the fence about taking this one on right now. But we gotta get through all the Guardian fights, I'm pretty sure, to get through the game, so... I'm reasonably confident that the ice chip helps here, except it's not working, so maybe not. Electricity? Because obviously the fire chip's not gonna help anything in this fight. Yep, electricity's the key against Fafnir, okay. Power wave. Yeah, watch out, because he will try to go for that grab when you get close to him after hitting him with that. But as you can see, Fafnir's nowhere near as bad as Harpooya because he's less mobile. So for a player like me, he's easy, especially with his weakness. Harpooya, I still think if I had the ice chip and remembered exactly where the ice chip was, I think we could have handled that better. But, you know, it is what it is. And as you can tell by the way they're talking, each one of them is going to fight you again. You're not getting off that easy by getting rid of them once. I mean, all I did was swing sword. They just happened to fall in pieces when sword touches body. If you guys all had swords, you'd be fine. Take my sword, make more of them. Then you don't need me anymore. And now you'll notice we only have 2 more missions left. Protect the factory and stop the hacking. Stop the downloading. This is also, of course, the factory we broke into already. I don't remember this fight. Oh. Okay. We have to fight Ninja Boy over here. Time for that pop-up to show up. Are you the one that's weak to ice? You might be weak to... No, because Harpooya is likely to be the one weak to ice, so you're probably weak to fire, then. Nope, fire doesn't make a difference to you. Okay? This one's kind of neat, but not the most dangerous of the lot. Because as you can see, their attacks are reasonably avoidable. But again, a lot of these end up being playstyle differences. Depending on how you play the game, some of the Guardians will be more dangerous than others. And that's what happens if you take the bait on attacking him while he's doing that. Is the classic ninja trick of put down fake U's and then jump on the person when the attack said fakes. I am now fumbling hard, though, right here at the end, because I did that. I'm gonna have to use the other elf to not lose this fight. I'm so mad at myself right now. Because we had him down to a science, and then the pattern slightly changed, and that was enough to fuck up my whole day. There we go. Bitch. you. Going in. I'm gonna go get the bombs. I'm gonna go fix things. I'm gonna do it, because I'm Zero. Eight bombs? Okay. If I were him, I'd put one of the bombs in this vent here. At the very least, I can get an extra life, even if it isn't in here. Nope, no bombs in here. Okay. There we go. As you might imagine, if I miss a bomb, it's gonna be really unfortunate. Speaking of really unfortunate... Okay, we can recover from that position. That's good to know. Oh, that's a rude place for that bomb to be! I knew there was gonna be at least one in there, but I was hoping so much that I was wrong. Yeah, it's safe to assume, since she gives us the prompting about deactivating the bombs, once we're past that point, there are no bombs before that point, then. And thankfully, we can life loop our way to victory, just like we did with the previous iteration of this stage. But the stage repetition, I would say, is the most unfortunate thing about this game, to a degree. Yeah, as you can see, the bombs can safely hit the ground. They become an item, so you have to pick them up. And it looks like their positions might be slightly random, because there wasn't a bomb there last time, was there? Or did I literally miss it thinking it was a tank? If I missed it, that's concerning. But on the bright side, it kind of got automatically handled by the fact that I died a miserable death. So I suppose there's that question mark positive. He threw off my groove. Okay, I'm not gonna go long today, I don't think. What I'm feeling like doing, I think, today is gonna be, I'm gonna do this set of missions. Like, just finish out the list. Deal with the plot event that happens at that point, and then we'll wrap up, probably. Because if this was going smoother, I'd probably press on and just fly through, but honestly, it's not going the best. And my mental state's not exactly on my side. You kind of wish they wouldn't pop those text boxes blocking the bottom of the screen where the death pits and danger usually are. Like, I get that they have to tell me things, but I feel like they could put them at a different part of the screen without it being an issue. Oh, there's a bomb up there. I saw it. You can't fool me. Why can't I see any of the flyers? there's one. I don't know how I didn't get hit there, but I'll take it. Uh-huh. I'm so glad my instincts are the way they are. Well, fuck me. I gotta go back down there. Because my instincts were screaming about where a bunch of those bombs were. Not that one. Not that bomb at all. Or, you know, I'm just not going to be able to jump off that wall for some reason. And I don't know why the machines weren't arriving. That's also weird. Because the flyers should have arrived. But they didn't. So I'm very confused. I'm just checking on something right quick. Bear with me just a moment. I wanted to make sure that the question I had answered actually led somewhere relevant and didn't just... the answer didn't just get ignored. Okay. Back in action. Get off of me. Actually, I wonder if it would be beneficial to me at all to go in through the vent again. I feel like the time it's going to take me to get up there and over there, I don't think it's actually faster. Especially not with all these flying cannons up here. Jesus. And with how long it took me to get up here and how long it takes to get across that flying section, we are in trouble. If we're getting all these bombs. Like, I can grab those fast, but... I really thought I was going to manage to grab the edge of that one and climb up. Because I was, of course, full sending it in the hopes of gaining back some time. Let's see if there really is a speed difference or not. Because there's a bunch of shit I need to climb past down here as well, but a lot of it I can just jump past, so I think this is quicker. But it's looking like it's not that... Yeah, it's a 10-second difference, which 10 seconds is a decent amount in a situation like this, so that's actually probably worth it. Also, little fun fact, it is 100% possible to knock one of those down and then not pick it up, because now that I'm thinking about it more, I'm pretty sure I've had that happen doing this mission before. Why did they put everything high enough up that you can't goddamn see it? Oh, I didn't turn around and get the life. That's why this didn't work. I also got confused for a second, because it's like, wait, how did we game over? We were in a life loop. And then stupid brain went, right. The life you didn't go get. Yeah. Now we gotta fight Phantom again. Let's see about stopping the hacking instead. This is more than likely gonna have the last remaining Guardian in it, considering Phantom's in that one, and there's 4 Guardians. The hidden base under the desert again? You know, rather than making me walk back to the hidden entrance that we already know about, why didn't you just drop me off there? Not that it took me long to get there, but I'm like, really? Now I gotta do the spike dodge again, just because the game decided to spawn me in the same spot again. Not that it's an issue, I'm just like, but why, though? You'll notice that these are slightly different this time. Should've just called a damn Uber. Oh, there's water in here now. That's different. I don't remember if water's bad for me or not. I think it's fine. You know what is bad for me? Spikes. Spikes are very bad for me. Now, I think if you give up, you get a guaranteed, like, F rating, and then it puts you back here. But I think you might, like, get your life count back. So it might not be a bad idea for me to do that if I fail completely again. We'll just see if I can find an extra life somewhere in here. Because if we can, then I'll just, like, perpetuate the life loop and we'll keep going as is. But having no lives to work with is going to bite me in the ass soon. You know, as if it hasn't already been biting me in the ass. Especially when it doesn't take the input properly. Okay, I'll demonstrate how giving up works. See, you get a guaranteed lowest possible rating, you get fearful, and then it puts you back here. Oh yeah, they actually succeed in their mission if you fail the mission. That's the problem with doing that. Right, we're not doing that then. We're not doing that at all. Because you lose some features temporarily and things like that, which that part's not a problem, but we then don't have access to doing the mission. And I want to show you guys every mission in the game if I can. And of course, you know, if there's a Guardian in there, there might be a chip in there, and if we... Oh, no, not... the Guardians don't even have chips, it was the other ones that had the chips. Which is how I ended up not having... I think it was the ice chip I failed out of when I was playing before. One of them I failed out of and didn't have that chip for the rest of the game. Now at the point where I'm trying to decide if I want to keep going now and try to do what I said, or if I want to bail out. Because I know I'm going to get very frustrated soon. This one's really just not been going anywhere. Like, I'm happy to have been playing this game again, but I also only have so much patience, and I've got some stuff I need to get done today. But I tell you what, I'm gonna stop now, and I might do a part 2 of this in a couple hours after I sort out dinner and things like that. Depends on how I feel at that point. But thank you to anybody who came in for this today. I think I might accept my fate on that one. Because I, of course, have things that need to get done today. Because there's only the 2 missions. But I also understand the fact that these 2 missions could easily take quite a while at the rate this is going. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just go for the day. So thanks for your time, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow for Dragon Quarter, or later today if I miraculously get the energy up to do a part 2, which will probably be more of this after I cool down a bit. Monday will be System Shock. Tuesday, I will either do more System Shock or I'll do another mixed day. Those have not really been doing a lot, so I'm not sure I'm gonna keep doing that. I enjoy it, but I know that not everybody is into that. But with that, I'm just gonna go ahead and go, so have a good one, everybody.